it's Paula Pluck here, and welcome to Transform Today. Oh my God, I am so happy to share this episode with you because so many of you have been messaging me after the lovely meditations I've been putting out about the soul alignment method. And you're now saying to me, well, how does it work? I've loved the meditations, I'm sinking into my heart, I'm feeling I can step into a new identity, integrating my shadow. I'm having all of these gorgeous experiences. So I can't tell you how grateful I am. So I thought what I would do is give you an introduction to the 6 stages of the manifestation through the soul alignment method, which is basically a quantum soul alignment method, a powerful pathway of everyday awakening where you don't chase your dreams begin to chase you. And this is where you move out of the hustle, out of the overthinking, out of the burnout, out of the force, your way through life. And you start to step into alignment. You're saying no to burnout, you're saying no to anxiety, you're stepping into the power of presence where your identity shifts, your energy shifts, your capacity, which is really important to receive, expands. And we all want more in life, more love, more joy, more wealth, more success, better health. We want to be in that situation. And, where we're realizing, we're not here to struggle our way to success. We're here to embody it. So if you're ready to step into a completely new way of creating your life, let's just take a beautiful breath and let's begin. Okay, so welcome to week 5 of the Quantum Soul Alignment Method. I love week 5 because we sort of pull everything together. We started on week 1 where we were definitely asserting we are a spiritual being inhabiting a physical body. And of course, everybody says that, but do they actually embody it? Do they believe it? Do they live in life like the divine is within them? Well, the answer to that is often no. And there's lots of reasons for that. And tonight we're going to go through all of that and look at how to unravel becoming that sacred, infinite inner being that is a limitless receiver that can just breathe into the gorgeousness of that universal one divine love that we're connected to it. Our physical body is connected to our soul is connected to our spirit, and from this space we can behave as an unlimited creator. We do not need to be in the struggle and the survival of our operating system. So here we start to get into our inner power, our higher power, the divine, the source, the God, whatever you want to call it, because it's part of us all and we are all unified. There's that lovely, great law, the law of divine oneness. And we are literally saying that we can tap into that we can use that power, to really elevate our lives, create better intentions, and embody more joy as we live on this earth. So one of the things that I would really like to talk you through tonight is the stages, and I'm going to link them a little bit to Carl Jung's stages of awakening. So if you think, he talks about the persona awakening from the identity we're taught to be. And Jung's insight is we begin life identifying with roles, expectations, external definitions of success. And at some point, this identity just no longer feels true. And that's where we start to step into that pillar 1 of the quantum soul alignment movement. We are awakening to the soul's desire. And this is where the journey really begins. We move beyond the conditioned self, conditioned desires, and reconnect to the deeper truth of our soul. And here, we begin to recognize what's been driving our decisions, where we've been on autopilot. And we tap into our mindful awareness to awaken to the truth of who we are. So we begin it's like we're not performing anymore. We start to express the truth of who we are, what we truly desire at the soul level. Because this is the point where it could be the dark night for the soul, it could be an awakening, a midlife crisis, all of these things people say. But what it actually is a point in time that we are all going to meet because we were born to. There is a divine movement behind everything that is orchestrating the most gorgeous synchronicities, lining up opportunities. And if we turn on our GPS, the GPS of the soul, we are gonna be able to start listening and experiencing a life where something profound just starts to open. We begin to realize that perhaps the life we've been trying to create has been created from a limited identity that's not truly the whole truth of who we are. So, when we just like take that moment to just come into the heart, there's this quiet knowing, there's more, there's something deeper, there's something truer. And we all deserve that because it comes with an aliveness and a joy that you just can't deny. And as you connect through your soul to your spirit, to the unified field of oneness, you begin to remember you're not here to chase life. No, you're here to align with it, to align with the truth of who you are. You begin stepping into what many of the great teachers have been, spoken about. Think of Neville Goddard with the wish fulfilled. Wayne Dyer continued that. And he also spoke of becoming what you desire to attract. Because remember, we attract what we are, not what we want. So this is where you begin to feel, what would it feel like to already be living in the life soul calling? Now, what are you getting called toward? And from here, you begin to become this limitless receiver. You can't be anything else because the soul is limitless. So you're stepping into the realm of your true potential, your true purpose. And what we talk about, what I ask you to think about at this stage is, are you really willing to release who you've been taught to be and remember who you truly are? And of course, I want the answer yes to that, because when we remember who we truly are, we have divine creation on our side. We can stack up opportunities, we can align with love, with infinite possibility, and we can really just, sort of start to take a deep breath and recognize life isn't about struggle. Even though we're trained to be an output, even though we're trained in all of these different ways. And this isn't a criticism. This is just the race mind, the race psychology, the way we live. But we can choose a new way to live here and now today. And that new way, I promise you, is freer, is more alive, is kinder. It's like, wow, am I ready? Or are you ready, I should say, to open to receiving the life your soul is already calling you toward now? Not someday, but right now. And this is really what everyday awakening is about. We were trained and taught that, awakening is only for the special few, but that's not true. All the great teachers say, you too shall do this work. The light is within you. Do not, Buddha, do not look for peace outside of yourself. The infinite reservoir of peace is within you. So we know the power is within, and it's really just stepping into that. So when we make the decision to accept there is a birthless self, to accept there is part of us connected to that one unified field of source, of sacred remembrance, then that's like the first stage. We're ready to step into our true identity. And of course, the sort of second stage, what happens when we say, hey, I'm ready to step into my true identity? everything that isn't your true identity starts to arise, the fears, the doubts, the traumas, the pains, the conditioning around our shadow. And it's really important here that we meet what has been hidden, because some things were just far too difficult for us to look at the time they happened. So we buried them. We didn't want to hurt the people, the bigger people around us by being confused. So we went into ourselves and we created some beliefs at that time. And it's important to know that the body's the recorder of the beliefs we created, and the body is keeping score, that lovely popular saying now, and in that score sheet is hidden the triggers, and our triggers, our shadows, are really to be celebrated. And there are so many of them. Oh my God, don't get me wrong. You will be inundated with these, but that's okay as long as you meet them as an opportunity to grow. So Jung talked about meeting the shadow. The shadow contains the parts of ourselves we have suppressed, avoided, or rejected. And transformation, true transformation, so you can live from a point of power, a point of peace, a point of presence, requires you to meet these parts with awareness. So that's like sort of pillar two of the quantum soul alignment method. It's where we start to bring love and kindness and remembering to the parts of us that have forgotten they are part of this infinite divine love too. We explore the emotional patterns, the subconscious beliefs, the internal blocks that we have shaped, our experiences. And rather than resisting them, we actually learn to integrate them. So the energy that was once held in fear or avoidance becomes available for growth, creativity, and connection. And this is lovely. It's where we begin to, just be like, oh, come on, honey, I don't want you in that pain. It's time now for you to remember the beautifulness of your spirit. And of course, this can be tremendously triggering. It can feel painful, and we need to get help and support when we're at this point. A client of mine was speaking yesterday about how she'd been left a bit of money. She'd had a history whereby she'd felt a little bit mistrust around money, where her money had been taken from her. So it was, she'd built in her body some trust issues around money, and she'd been left this money, and her gorgeous present husband said to her, oh, maybe we could, put a little bit of this off the mortgage. And she was explaining, she got completely triggered. It was irrational because this guy's gorgeous. He wasn't trying to take something from her. They've been happily married for years. But the body remembered and the trigger came up. And luckily, through her mindful awareness, she was able to say, no, this is not true. This is my body, which has recorded old pains, old triggers. And now, through my mindful awareness, I can actually transform those thoughts and beliefs that are creating this stuckness, this limitation in my body. And, that's what she did. And that's the work, really, that we're all doing, because there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing to fix. We just are essentially recognizing that there are parts of us that are operating unconsciously because they don't have the awareness of the higher consciousness. So everything is consciousness. And if we are getting triggered, there's something in our consciousness that believes that we are not good enough in some way, and we have to fix something to be acceptable. And we change ourselves to fit in. Well, soul alignment just won't play that game. It won't hack that. It's like, no, we're not doing that. What we're actually going to be doing is coming back to the truth, the love of who you are. Yeah. And you were protecting me, you were holding me, you were keeping me safe. But now those same parts can start to limit us, limit our expansion. And, as you bring awareness to them, it's so tender, as you illuminate them with presence, you really do begin to transform. And whether that's holding your inner child, holding your shadow, talking to yourself, parenting yourself, being kind, saying, no, this isn't the truth. We're going somewhere else. We want to be a limitless receiver. We want to have infinite potential in our finite body. We want to open our sacred heart and live from a space of just joy, aliveness, potential. So that's what we're doing. We're turning pain to potential. We know we all talk about making our wounds become our wisdom. Well, this is the time that we say, I embody it because I believe I have this power within me that can overcome all things. This is Paul Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, and true love that's impersonal, the love that never leaves, is all of those things and is here to create the alchemy. So we basically, turn the base metal into gold. There's a lovely saying, from Ananda Mayamar, and she says, when by the flood of your tears, the inner and the outer world are fused into one, you will find her whom you thought nearer than the nearest, the very breath of life. You're just there. Your presence is there. Your presence is always there. It's only us who leave. And all we have to do is take this moment now and remember, nothing is separate when we're in presence. What we're resisting becomes part of our power. So we become, as we invite every trigger in, we free up space in our, nervous system. We get to self-regulate more. We get to receive more. And that's what we want to do. We want more. So, when I'm talking to my clients, I ask them what part of you is ready to be seen, is ready to be loved, to be integrated rather than hidden or fixed. And it's like, oh, okay, so, if there's little feelings of worry coming up there, then that's good because the parts of you that haven't felt safe to express are now in a space of trust, ready to express. And my God, I know it's so hard. So, I'm not undermining this in any shape or form. But what I am saying is if you have a faith in a power greater than the finite personality, and you can tap into that and bring that everlasting, supreme divine love into your physical being now, you can create the space for wholeness because you're already whole. You just need to create the space for remembering. Can you even allow the parts you've judged to become a source of your power, your wisdom, your self-trust? You may have been terrorized in your own home. Things might have happened to you where you just couldn't trust yourself. And it's time now to mother yourself and come back to that deep inner trust. So that's what's happening when we're integrating the inner child and the shadow. And we see our triggers as a point of celebration. Oh, brilliant. This is an opportunity to become more whole in this lifetime, here and now. And stage 3 is like about inner union. We're balancing the opposites within, and Jung talked about this as true wholeness, which requires integrating the masculine and the feminine energies, the logic and the intuition, the action and the flow. So pillar 3 really builds on, really builds on bringing safety into the nervous system, allowing the body to really move out of survival and into expansion. And as the nervous system just stabilizes, the internal conflict can soften, we become more present, more intuitive, more capable of holding greater levels of success, health, and relationship depth and connection, which of course is what we all want. So it's really important because as we awaken, it's not just a mental experience, is it? It's not just spiritual, it's somatic. And if we can get that lovely nervous system into safety, then the body, once it feels safe, can have an open heart, and we can work with an open heart. We can expand with an open heart. We can become a limitless receiver with an open heart, because then we can get the downloads, we can get the joy, we can get the stuff that enables us to stand in our light, to stand in our power. So your body must feel safe. So this is why we really invite your body to feel safe, to receive what the soul desires, because until the body feels safe, we can't. And this is where many people stay stuck. They're trying to expand, but their body is in protection. So what happens, before we begin to soften and realize and work with these very basic steps of today's awakening, of everyday awakening, of self-realization, we can feel stuck, we can feel triggered, and then we get derailed by that. We judge our judgments. But the key here is to see that we have suffered, to bring great divinity to humanity. We're not spiritual bypassing, we're bringing the depth of our love to our humanity, because there's lots of tragedies and sadness that happens in the world. And this is the invitation at this point as we begin to soften. And obviously, if we need help, we get help. That's important. But as we begin to soften, we begin to power our presence and hold the parts of us that have been in pain and infuse them with that divine love and that remembrance. Yeah, so awakening can happen, so we can regulate, so we can allow. And you know what's gorgeous? From here, we begin to experience something new. And this is what the work's about. We begin to see it's safe to receive, it's safe to be seen, it's safe to have more. And this is where love really deepens, and intimacy deepens, and connection deepens. And we just feel part of the whole. We're someone because we're part of that one divine power, that and love that is radiating behind the scenes in this universe that we find ourselves in. So, the reflections I would invite you to think about here are you willing or open to feel safe in your body so you can expand into more love, more success, more intimacy, and more visibility? And when I do this with my clients, it's like they say yes, and then the resistance has come up. And let's just think about that. These resistances are the barriers to the presence of love. That's how the Course in Miracles was put it. And we want to be a magnet for miracles, a magnet for money, just a magnet for everything that can elevate our life and allow us to live in that gorgeous free space. So again, I'd ask you to think things like, can your body begin to trust that it is safe to receive more ease, more abundance, just more love, more life? Are you ready for that? And that's, sort of where the magic really begins to take hold. And I really want you to take on board that this is your opportunity. You have the chance. We don't want to suffer over our suffering anymore. We don't want to be in that place where we're contracted, we're restricted, we're afraid to go out. This is our one human life, our one precious human life, and as we empty out all of that suffering and trauma, we step into the light of our true being. I remember when I first met His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and he was so empty, he was full. And I remembered sort of thinking, oh my gosh, it's like touching, what the scriptures would say, touching the hem of Jesus. And I realized in that point, no, he's just so empty of all of the stories that we tell ourselves that the world has made up about us. He's so full of his true essence, of his divine presence. And that's what I think touching the hem of Jesus really meant. And, we all can have that opportunity. And I think that that's massively important. If you're going to accept everyday awakening, it's about accepting it right now, here in this present moment. The opportunity is not tomorrow, it's here and now. So, this is the power of now. Are you going to step in to the power of now? That's really what the invitation is. And, Young talked like we have our stage 4 is, the pillar is the neurobiology of our identity. And Jung talked about rewiring the psyche, telling us all transformation requires restructuring the psyche, not just understanding it. And, with the neuroscience, we have great people, out there like Joe Dispenza telling us, your personality creates your personal reality. And this is something to really take on board, because why wouldn't we want to change our personality to magnetize, to step into the vibration of a wonderful, open hearted life? And, I'm not being breathlessly positive here. This is grounded. It's true. You can have it. You can keep yourself elevated. And all the teachers talk about this. The sages talk about it. The saints talk about it. They've all been in agreement with it from the beginning of time. And the question is, are you ready to be in agreement with it? So, yeah, in this sort of fourth pillar, we learn how our identity was wired through neural pathways, through neuroplasticity, and we begin to consciously reshape those beliefs, behaviors, and internal narratives that just don't support us. If they're not saying we can't we can't be limitless receivers, then something's wrong, because we can. And that's the truth. And the only thing we have to wake up to, the, spiritual shout is sleepers awake. The only thing that we have to wake up to is that we can have that today too, here and now. So this is where identity transformation becomes practical and embodied. It's not just conceptual. It's where science and soul meet. And that's my slogan, because I think that's so important. The language, you know, of the mystic really is science, in current days. If I listen to Bruce Lipton, he talks so beautifully about marrying the soul, about living in the divine. And this is what we can do, because it's really, we must understand, our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs aren't just abstract. They are creating neuro pathways, and they are shaping, our reality. So we can take control of our thoughts so they don't control us. And that is great, great news. So as I'm saying, people like Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, all point to the body and the brain are constantly learning your identity. So when you begin to feel and become present, to embody, to believe, you begin to rewire. And isn't that wonderful? It's in your control that you can do it. And this is what we talked about earlier. You begin to live in what Neville Goddard called the state of the wish fulfilled, where your present conditions no longer, sort of dictate your internal state. So no matter what's going on outside of us, we can literally elevate ourselves to a higher state of being. No matter what our bank account is saying, we can embody and create the vibration of a wealth attractor here and now. We can become the change maker that we want in our life. We can have impact. We can bring that love to ourselves, to our family, to our friends, to our clients, to our community, to our world. We can do all of this. The power is within our hands. And that is what is amazing. That is what's gorgeous. That is what will set us free when we're present to the conditions of our life. So our inner world expresses our outer world. So if we haven't got something in our outer world, then there's something in that we want and we desire and we'd love to have. Then there's something in our inner world that's in contradiction to that. So this is where we do the excavation. This is where we do the exploring. We say, we make a commitment, we're change makers, and we have a strong why. And we say, no, I will not break, state with my awakened heart. I will not break the truth. I will not break my faith of the truth that there is a birthless self, that I am someone because I'm part of the oneness of divine reality. So I can connect to that. We're not going to break state with it. And if you imagine, there's this house, and in the house it's on fire, and in one of the rooms, is your inner child, you're going to dive into that house and get the child out, even if you're not conscious. But when you become conscious, that something on the outside is not giving me what, is not in coherence with what I truly desire, what my intention is. Then you can say, okay, which burning room is holding a child, a shadow that needs loving, that needs care, that needs attention, that needs remembering the truth of their very essence, that they deserve wealth, happiness, peace, joy, just because they're born. The divine is unlimited. It is abundant. And all we have to say is, I want to receive, receive, receive. And I will bring my presence, my loving kindness to all the parts of me that have suffered. And I can do that. And that is okay. And sometimes it will be challenging and sometimes it will take courage. But in the end, it will free up space in my system so I can respond as the truth of who I am. And that's when our internal reality shapes our future. So the reflections here would be, are you ready to release the identity that kept you safe and step into the one that sets you free? Can you accept that you're allowed to become a new version of yourself starting now? Can you receive your unlimited potential starting now? Can you alchemize right now? Can you take the base metal and turn it into gold right now here in your body? It's really funny. A couple of days ago, I received this really wonderful little message, and it was just, can I come and speak for a few hours at a charity workplace event? And they were apologizing because they only had a budget of £2,000. But I didn't ask for that. It didn't come to me in a way, that it just came to me in a way that was unexpected, because I'm aligned to receiving. And like Louise Hay says, the universe will surprise and delight you in unexpected ways. So it's good to receive that, to just recognize, oh my gosh, whether you get something discounted, whether a friend purchases a meal for you, respect all of the goodness and the abundance that's coming to you now. It's not just down to money, it's down to health, it's down to happiness, it's down to your authentic self, how you show up in your purpose and your passion in the world. And, it's important, to accept, can I decide in this one life right here and now that I'm ready for more. I'm going to do it. I am going to let go of the fears and say, hey, honey, that's not who I am anymore. I'm deciding to stand in the blueprint or the fingerprint that's unique to my soul. And I'm going to listen to the whispers, and I'm going to make myself, available. I remember the whispers of my soul telling me to do this podcast. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to do a podcast. But it was so certain. It was, more or less knocking down the door of my heart at this point. And that podcast, when I launched it, went to number one overnight. Now, I couldn't have seen that, but the orchestration of everything moving into alignment in the background happened. And it happened for me. And I was like, wow, this is just so wonderful. But I couldn't have planned that, in a sort of big hassle hustle way. I was aligned and open to receiving. And, this happens so much with my clients all the time. Once we align the energy to abundance, everything else magnetizes. It draws to you because we are unlimited receivers. We can receive at a limitless nature. And when we truly believe that and we surrender to the sacred in us, oh my God, the doors just start opening and the world just becomes like so gorgeous. With the podcast, I'm going to these gorgeous places like St. Lucia, Icarus, I'm going to California, and I'm being taken there. I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm being taken there and doing the podcast while I'm there. And, I couldn't get a better service. Being paid to travel the world and live in luxury is pretty amazing. So these things can happen as soon as we align our identity to them. Yeah, so are you willing to become the true version of yourself? Are you willing to embody the open-hearted, creative joy of your soul? Are you ready to do it right now is the big question. So the next pillar would be stage 5, and that's where we're getting really integrated. So Jung says the self is the integrated whole where consciousness and unconscious aspects are unified. And this is really lovely here, because I get my clients now to think about their business energetics, about their aligned success. We're talking now about here our identity begins expressing outwardly in the world. And this is pretty beautiful. So we align our internal identity with our external expression, and everything changes. We stop chasing and we start receiving. We're out of the hustle. We're saying no to burnout. We're saying no to stress. We're saying no to anxiety. And yes, please, we'll have impact. And yes, please, we'll have more joy. And yes, please, we'll have an open heart. And yes, please surprise and delight me with unexpected opportunities. So we are now saying yes. And that feels like really gorgeous because you're made for more choice, more impact, more life, more alignment, more joy. And it's really important just to receive it now in this lifetime. Receive it today in this moment. It's such a gorgeous way to live. And you feel good, you are creating in your own inner pharmacy all of that gorgeous dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and you're living from this gorgeous space of inner harmony. So, of course, when we have inner harmony, we have an open heart and we're ready to receive. We're in that parasympathetic nervous system. We're not in, fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system where we've got the tap dripping of cortisol, lactate, or adrenaline, which is lowering our well-being, which are all the friends of burnout, of depression, of pain. And what we're doing is saying, no, we are going to create from our inner pharmacy, from our beliefs, a body that feels at peace, a body that feels in harmony with the truth of who she or he is. So yeah, everything just begins to look different. You start to show up in your work, your leadership, your relationships, just with more prosperity. Success begins to be a reflection of alignment. And this is the important thing, alignment rather than effort. In the world of the law of attraction, we don't get all of the pieces coming together. We don't get the power of the neurobiology and the self-regulation that might be against what we want. And we need to marry all of these parts so we can receive at an infinite, unlimited, measure that we can receive, and we can only receive that much as how we feel safe. So we've said it before and we'll say it again. We receive what we are, not what we want. So this is why the identity shift is so paramount. And the easiest identity shift is to become the person you truly are, is to embody your soul and spirit. And then you can rock, on all cylinders. Yeah, so really remember, success becomes a reflection of alignment rather than effort. And this is where your inner world meets your outer world, where your business, your leadership, your impact becomes a reflection of your alignment. And we begin to ask, if everything is expanded now, could I receive it? I mean, could you? Could you receive 10 times more love? Could you receive 10 times more clients? Have you got the space in your system? Have you got the space in your life, energetically, emotionally, practically? So this is where we start to, clear the decks. We start to move things out of our life that aren't in alignment with us, because success is not just created, remember, it's received, received, received. And I just love that because, it takes all the pressure off, really. It's like the architecture of receiving. It's very simple. And because it's so simple, the mind wants to argue with it, but the heart will receive it. So you declutter your inner world of these old limiting beliefs and your external structures so you can hold more. One of my clients was saying this week that, she'd started to clean up, her house, clean out drawers, and she was getting so much more intuitively connected to creating space inside of her nervous system, inside of her organism to create balance. That started to reflect in her outer world. And she was also creating space where she was not being reactive, but having enough space to respond, to triggers that would come up in her life. And that's also important too, because it's all working. You start to see your outer world truly as a reflection. It is the litmus test. It is the reflection of your inner world. So my question is, can you hold more? Can you hold more? Are you available for a new level of prosperity, visibility, and impact to flow to you through your work, through life? Can you allow success to feel aligned naturally and fully and be supportive of who you truly are? Because you're actually just remembering and becoming your true self, which is the power of now, which is the great presence. That will be the change we want to see in the world, to quote Gandhi. We become that change. And that's why, part 6 of my quantum soul alignment method is all about living as your true self. And Jung referred to this, as well as all the great sages. Individuation is not complete until it is lived. It must be embodied. So we're looking for embodiment, embodied alignment. And this is where everything integrates. You step fully into the identity that's been unfolding throughout the journey. You live the true version of yourself who naturally experiences aligned wealth, vibrant health, deeply nourishing relationships, deep connection. And why do you receive that? Because you're in connection with the truth of who you are. You're identifying in this gorgeous, unlimited space of your soul because you've invited your soul to be the leader. You've said, Francis of Assisi said, make me a channel of your peace. So you're saying, I'm making my body a channel of aligned wealth, a channel of vibrant health, a channel of deeply fulfilling relationships. And that is a choice you have. This is a choice you can learn. So you are so empowered. The power you have is off the charts. You know, the power we have is off the charts. And that's where manifestation just becomes so natural because it's the result of who you're being. And if you're being your soul, you're going to get more. And I just love that. You know, you'll 10x everything. Everything will start to grow. You'll feel in so much harmony. Because let's face it, we don't want to be, you know, insanely rich, you know, just for money. We want it because we want freedom, we want choice, we want alignment, we want to be generous, we want to be a custodian of wealth, we want to help our family, we want to show up in the world where we can support good causes. So we want a freedom of choice. We want a wonderful home and a comfortable living and a space to live where we can express the divine in us, we can express the truth of our nature, and we can have everyday awakening. It's not just for the few, it's for all of us, you know. So, you know, you become the one that creates it. You align with creation and become a creator. You are the alchemist, which is really wonderful. You know, you will change the base metal to gold. Another gorgeous thing that Ananda Mayamar says, through the dance of creation, although the dance changes, I remain the same. And this is the truth for everyone. When we lay, you know, take back the layers of all the conditioning, we start to see the truth of who we are, and we cease aligning with a limited temporal aspect of this personality. And we use this vessel as a channel for more truth, more awakening, more love, and more joy in life. And this is the truth where everything changes. As consciousness, as present, as the divine within, it's all there. And we're now just remembering it. That's all our job is to remember who we truly are. Because we're none of these things that we have been taught. Yes, our stories are important. Yes, the traumas and the things that have happened in our life are important, but they're not as important as the immutable truth, you know, that we are infinite beings. And this is from here, we just live differently. We become a receiver, we become a creator, and we just become a conscious being. And that's the possibility that we're really stepping into now. You might want to call it heaven on earth. You might want to call it everyday awakening. You might want to call it embodied truth. But what I want you to do is call upon it, because it is the change that will change everything. It's the shift that will shift everything. When you align to your soul and spirit, your life will become miraculous and you will magnetize miracles. And you know, that's just gorgeous. So, are you willing to embody your true self, who already lives in this reality here and now in your body? You just aren't giving your focus and attention to it. So that's the big question. Can you trust that you are already becoming the person who can naturally be aligned to wealth, health, and relationships? And you know, it is, I have to say again, it's so simple that the mind argues with it. But if we could just come home to presence and power that love in our heart, then skies is the limit. You know, the soul alignment method just takes you through a process that traditionally unfolds over years and transforms it into a guided, embodied journey. And I just love that. You know, we integrate psychology, neuroscience, nervous system regulation, energetic alignment, and divine devotion, actually, to the sacred heart in us. So transformation becomes not only possible, but oh my gosh, it's like natural. It's not what you chase, it's what you become. You align, you embody, and you prosper. And I just think that is so gorgeous. Okay, so shall we give it a go? All of this talking about it, let's just become embodied now. Let's give it a go. So let's do an awakening to union to bring all the parts of ourselves together. And if you're ready and it's safe to do so, I'll invite you just to close your eyes and gently just arrive into this present moment. Not in the mind, but in the body, in the breath, in the quiet awareness that is already present. And there is a beautiful light in your soul. There is a beautiful light in your heart. And you can just begin to see this light illuminating every cell and every atom of your being in the quiet awareness that is already present. Just taking slow, deep breaths. And as you exhale, you allow everything you've been holding, every role, every identity, every expectation, just to soften. And you're not required to be anywhere right now. Just breathing, softening, allowing love to love through you, letting love transform. And you're stepping into the sacred heart, the eternal heart, connecting your individual heart with the heart of creation. And that heart is so beautiful and palpable, embodying so much joy and aliveness and peace and kindness. And you just feel it for a moment. You allow yourself to feel it. Just breathing in the light. Feel into this moment, not the past, not the future, but here and now. Just breathing into here and now. And it's so precious and it's so beautiful. And you can feel that love caressing every cell, every atom of your being, here and now. And the great ones have always told us, the kingdom of God, of love, of source is within you. Not somewhere else, not later, but here and now. And we keep bringing our awareness inward. Notice the stillness beneath your thoughts. And as you observe, you remember, awaken to be the witness of your thoughts. You are not your mind. You are the awareness that sees. And just let your body soften even more, as if you are dissolving into the present self. And here in the stillness, feel the truth. It's so gorgeous and peaceful and still. The quiet mind leads to the radiant heart. And the truth settles that peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. There is nowhere to go, nothing to become. Just this, just presence, just now. And love is here loving through you. And you can hold that garden of delight. You can have an intention to elevate your heart to the eternal heart, to elevate your consciousness to the one divine consciousness, and step into the power of presence, of your love and your joy, your divine birthright. Just sense it, let yourself go deeper. And who is aware of this moment? Not your name, not your story, but the one who has always been here. And like Miriam Mandamoir said, I was the same before I was born, I am the same now, and I shall remain the same throughout the dance of eternity forever. So feel that unchanging presence, the silence, the silent being that has never moved, and just rest as that. And you can feel the love and the power. Receive, receive, receive. You are a limitless receiver, and love loves to love through you. Feel grateful for all the wonderful things you already have in life. That appreciation, just turning up the brightness of love in your heart. And we remember that we are all forms from the one great source. And in love, in true love, there is no separation. We are all connected, mirroring love, mirroring life to each other. The breath you are breathing, the space around you, the life within you, it is all the same essence. And let love transform. Let love transform any hurt in your heart. Let your heart be washed of any pain. Under the light of love, you have nothing to do. Just receive, receive, receive. Think of the words of Krishna, I am the self, seated in the heart of all beings, not somewhere distant, but here, in you, as you. You are someone because you are part of the one. Own that truth, that equality now. And receive that unlimited love. Let it land in your body. You are not separate from life. You are life aware of itself. And in that awareness, something begins to open, a quiet remembering. You are the light of the world. Not becoming, not achieving, but revealing, remembering what has always been. And you let the light of your heart shine brightly now. Become a way shower. Let the light lead with love. Feel the light not as something visual, but as a presence, a knowing, a subtle aliveness. And it's so beautiful. And now just let this truth deepen you even further. You know, the great teacher and healer Jesus said, the works that I do, you shall do also, and greater. Awakening is not reserved. It is not distant. It's available now. available now in this breath, in this body, in this life. It's available to you. So breathe into this present moment. Let every cell and every atom of your being receive. I am the light I am. I will be the change I want to see, not only in my world, but in the world, as Gandhi counselled us. And remember, there is nothing to attain. You are only realizing, remembering, awakening to the truth of your beautiful nature. So breathe in that light. And it's like the light of love is resurrecting for you now, resurrecting all the parts of your psyche that have felt restricted, contracted, resurrecting them back to love. Ascension is possible here and now. And you breathe into that possibility. Ascension is possible here and now. So just for a moment, stop seeking, stop reaching, stop trying to become awakened, and simply notice what remains when you do nothing. Just awareness, just presence, just being. And in this, union is already here. Not something you enter, but something you are right now in this present moment. And it's like the all-encompassing hand of the divine of love is ready to soothe away any fears, so you can realign to love, become love, experience love in this lifetime at the deepest level. Let divine grace permeate every cell and every atom of your being. Receive it now. Okay, so taking a slow breath in You can gently just begin to feel your body again. But don't lose this awareness. Let it move with you as you open your eyes, as you return, as you live, because awakening is not elsewhere. It is here, it is now, and it is you. So just being cozy, you can just gently move your shoulders, maybe clasp and clasp your hands, and just bring that awareness into your present moment. And it's been so gorgeous spending time with you. Loads of love from my heart to yours. Until the next time. And I know you have all been sending so many lovely thoughts around the meditations that we're providing on the podcast Transform Today about the soul alignment method. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you so you're able to reach out if you want to learn more about doing the program one-to-one or studying with me to teach it. I would love to be your guide. And yeah, it's just so gorgeous. It's a joyful adventure to step into. It's a path of awakening that can only bring love to your heart. More love, more expansion, more impact for you, for your clients, for your family, your friends. Yeah, just for the community and of course our world. So thanks very much. Until the next time, loads of love. Just before you go, if you have ever felt that quiet nudge to become a coach or to grow the coaching or wellness business you already have, there's that sense that you're here for more impact, more meaning, more depth in your work. If you're ready to share this kind of deep soul-led transformational work with others, I would love to support you. Inside my trainings, we bring soul and science together. And we've got the soul alignment method, teacher training coming up soon in the beautiful Glastonbury, which is such a lovely space. On the 5th to the 7th, we'll have the in-person days. But we have so many different neuroscience, meditation, mindfulness, coaching, transformational programs you can explore on the website. You'll always learn how to guide powerful, lasting transformation, not just at the surface level, but at the level where identity, the subconscious mind, and the nervous system all come together. And you'll be supported to embody this work yourself. While you receive beautiful done for you programs, you can begin using with your clients right away. They're all grounded, they're all accredited. It's where spirituality, psychology meets quantum principles and where your work becomes something truly, yeah, it's just really great fun actually, and it's such a privilege to work in this way. So if you fancy training with us, we've got this gorgeous, powerful energy of Glastonbury here in the UK, wonderful sacred space from the 5th to the 7th of June, where we'll start the journey and then it continues online. You're supported every step of the way, so it would be great if you felt like, that pull. Yeah, this is for me. Why not hop over to paulapluck.com where you'll find all the details. And I would just love to walk with you and share in this beautiful transformational path if it's calling to you. So sending lots of love and thanks. See you soon.